Coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast, we're just days away from the big spring training trip. We'll tell you how you can join us. Plus, Bregman goes boom over the weekend, and Justin Steele said, what? What? This is great news and special guest right off the top. It's our guy, Michael Cerami from Bleacher Nation. CHGO Cubs next. Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs podcast. It is Monday. By Thursday, we'll be in the sun of Arizona.
Yes.
Luke Stuckmeyer, Joey Christopoulos, Justin Roman, Sarah running the ones and twos.
Go Cubs.
Yes, there it is.
Thank you.
And our guy, Michael Cerami for Bleacher Nation. First of all, Michael, I know you're going to want to hear this because anytime anybody can go to Sunshine, we're just going to promote this trip real quick. Real quick, okay? Here it is. We leave Thursday, and we get out there, and we go to a Cubs game. We're going to be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I haven't been to spring training since when?
2016.
2016.
And what happened that year?
The good luck charm is back. The good luck charm is back,
What happened
folks.
in 2016?
They're sending the old buzzard back out to Arizona, and we got a chance to win a World Series.
You're like Maverick.
That's right.
They're sending you back to Top Gun. We need you, Mav.
I haven't aged like Tom Cruise. I don't have the surgeries. Anyways, we're going out. We got the golf outing you can still sign up for. That's coming up on Friday. We have a meet and greet after the golf outing. It's a happy hour at Poor Intentions, P-O-U-R.
Poor decisions.
Poor decisions.
You have poor intentions.
I have poor intentions with everything I do.
Leads to poor decisions.
Poor decisions in Scottsdale. Hey, it's 7 to 10. There's going to be drink deal. There's going to be food, and we're going to talk Chicago sports. So if you're in Phoenix or you want to go or you know somebody that's going to be there, let them know about it. All right, now let's get to our guest, Michael Cerami. I know Michael back from the old NBC Sports Chicago days when then he was called an outsider on his show. Now he's one of the ultimate insiders in baseball, and he breaks news. He talks Cubs, Bleacher Nation. How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. I'm glad you're getting back out to spring training too. We obviously need you out there.
Sure, yeah. It's definitely about me. No question about it.
The last piece.
First things first, how do you just feel if you had to give the offseason a grade? That's what we've been asking anybody we talk to. Like, if you had to give the offseason a grade, where would you go? What was your expectation going into it?
You know, I honestly struggle not to give the Cubs an A. I don't know if they deserve an A plus, let's say, if we're going to split hairs. But the way I sort of break it down is they accomplished three main things. And the first is they got a bat to replace Kyle Tucker. You're not going to necessarily replace the first half of Kyle Tucker with anybody who was out there, right? But they got as surefire of as an upgrade to the lineup as they possibly could in Alex Bregman. They got rotational upside, which is something we wanted to make sure that that box that they checked, that was Miguel Cabrera. There's a few different ways they could have gone about that, but they did it that way. And then as a second sort of starter, I'm sort of categorizing Shota Imanaga as that guy. I think they needed another starter. He was sort of a free agent there for like a day when the options were declined and everything. I don't know, in terms of if he were my first pick for that second starter spot, I don't think that's necessarily true, but he fits this sort of category of guy which is to say he has the upside. And I think that's all that the Cubs really needed to capture in that second starter. I think there was a lot of different ways they could have gone with that. Some of those guys ended up accepting deals before the offseason even began. And then lastly, it was addressing the bullpen, right? And there was a ton of closers available in free agency this winter, and they didn't really go out and get one. However, we've seen the Cubs build bullpens in their way before. I don't think that's what they did this winter. I think they went up a tier, right? They spent almost $30 million on their bullpen, getting a bunch of established arms. And if what they're doing is sort of attacking it the same way they have in the past, but a tier up of certainty, a floor with the same amount of upside as the Brad Kellers of the world, then I think they did really well. And so you look at it in totality and it's like they got their starter, they got their bat, they improved the bullpen. How else do you really want them to have gone about it, right? Like that was pretty good. That was probably the best I've felt about an offseason, feeling complete as I do right now. And again, actually I'll add, even though this has been a long-winded answer to give us a grade, I think that they upgraded the bench pretty significantly too, mostly by way of Matt Shaw, but they have a lot of really, interesting borderline guys for that fourth spot, guys that have either done it in the big leagues already, like Chas McCormick or Michael Conforto, or guys like Dylan Carlson who sort of have that prospect pedigree upside. He's still young. So they did a lot and it feels good. It feels very complete for once. I'm not entering spring training. We're not sitting here waiting for some guy to find a deal that it wasn't there, or, if only we had also done this. It feels like, hey, we got a complete team. I'm ready to go out and see what they can do. So for that, they get an A.
Well, and that's what Michael has made this spring training refreshing and interesting, right? We're using words in our lexicon that I don't think we as Cubs fans have used the last couple of years, like 6-man rotation possibility. Who is the fifth outfielder, right? And credit to Jed, as you've already illustrated about the depth that they've created and the roster competition from the top of the organization on the roster all the way down. So rolling it forward, I know it's early in spring training, but I do think there were some definite winners of the weekend when we talk about the Cubs and some of the games were played. So if you can name one, it doesn't have to be, there's several, right? But who, in your opinion, was the big winner of this last weekend of Cubs spring games?
I think it was nice to see Alex Bregman hit a homer, right? I mean, listen, I don't know. He's a really interesting guy to follow. I think that no matter what, his, presence on this team is going to make a big impact this year. We know he plays solid defense at third. We know that even when he's not his best, he'll be an above average hitter, a great leader, all of that stuff. But I also think that we sort of let ourselves forget how crazy impactful he was offensively in the first half of last season before his injuries. I mean, this is still a guy who has been one of the best hitters in baseball at points in his career. And so I'm letting myself believe a little bit that he has one more very legit season in him before just being a very useful, very valuable part of the team for the remaining years of his contract. And so to see him hit that homer with that, such a simple, sweet right-handed swing, it was nice to be reminded of maybe he's not hitting 40 homers, but this is a guy that can hit 300. He's a guy that can hit 25 homers, who can slug, who can get on base, who could, I don't know. I think that we've kind of glossed over his potential offensive impact for the overall picture that is Alex Bregman. And I understand that, but that was exciting and kind of reminded me of it. So I'll go with Breg.
Piggybacking on that, Bregman was one of the best hitters in baseball last year before the injuries kind of took over. So was Kyle Tucker. And you saw what this lineup did when a healthy Kyle Tucker was in the lineup, a better PCA, a better Seiya Suzuki. Do you think we're going to kind of see the similar production from those guys with a healthy Alex Bregman in the middle of their lineup? Or is it going to be at all different when it comes to Bregman versus Tucker?
Well, I think that it's possible. I think what the one benefit of Alex Bregman is that he's a righty. And I think this lineup needed another right-handed, legitimate right-handed bat for the top half of the order. We don't really know what Moises Ballesteros is going to be. He's a lefty, but I'm just saying, we don't know what he's going to be. We don't really know how often Matt Shaw is going to contribute. Another thing that we don't know is Nico Horner. He's always been a good hitter, right? But I think, again, we sleep on that. In the second half of last year, he was actually slugging a lot more than normal. For him, that's like 430. But if he's slugging 430, I mean, that's a transformative piece of this lineup. But I still think we needed a right-handed bat, and I think Alex Bregman fits that really nicely. I also think that Seiya Suzuki is probably in store for a big season, especially if he ends up taking advantage of the ABS. I think I saw today, I can't remember exactly who put it out, but he was the guy who had the most balls called strikes in baseball. It's like, geez, I mean, if he can use that to his advantage successfully, I mean, boy, that could completely change his entire slash line. I mean, overnight without any changes otherwise.
And just a quick follow-up on Bregman. You did a great piece. If anyone out there isn't following Bleacher Nation, like, what are you doing?
Come on.
Just really fast. But I think you came up with a great piece and something that I've been racking my head on, and I think it's fun to talk about right now early in spring when we ask the question with Bregman, where do you see him hitting in the lineup? And conversely, then where does Nico Hoerner slide into this? Is Michael Busch the leadoff hitter? Is he the 3-4-5 guy? And this is, again, what's fun about this Cubs team and the possibility and potential of this team is I can come up with 4 or 5 different combinations. I'd probably thumbs up, right? But for you right now, where do you see Bregman hitting in the lineup if you were making the lineup?
Yeah, well, I'll answer this sort of 2 ways. One, the way that I think the Cubs are going, and that to me seems pretty clear that they're thinking about batting him second. They got Michael Busch leading off against most righties, I think is going to be the way that this plays out. And I think Nico Hoerner is going to lead off against all the lefties. But the one through line throughout every spring training lineup, which has followed those leadoff hitter paths, depending on the opposing starter, which is not always what you see from a manager, but he has had Nico leading off against lefties and Busch leading off against righties, is Alex Bregman has always hit second. And I'm not sure that they're doing that to get him extra reps. I think that's probably where he's going to hit this year. Now, whether he should hit second is a different question, but it sort of is an interesting one in that I don't know which Seiya Suzuki we're getting this year. So set aside the ABS thing that I brought up, is 2 years ago when he sort of peaked offensively, he was more of a well-rounded overall hitter. Last year, he leaned into the slugging a lot more, right? Hit career high homers and a career high slugging percentage. And it's possible that you want that guy just batting cleanup with, again, depending on obviously the handedness of the starting pitcher. But I could also see Seiya Suzuki being the team's best hitter, maybe outside of Busch, who will be leading off. And so if that's the case, you probably do want him batting second instead of Bregman, right? But then so many other factors come into play because, again, if Moises Ballesteros hits as well as I think he can, and I'm pretty high on him. I'm very excited about him this year. Then you might want him a little higher in the lineup, and then you can talk about moving him as the top lefty after Busch and moving Bregman and Suzuki around him. I don't think we're going to start there, though. I think if he is the quote-unquote everyday DH to start the year, Ballesteros is going to start low in the order, and then that changes the top of the order quite a bit. But for now, it looks like Bregman's going to bat second, and I think that's a perfectly fine way to start.
I think there's a lot of guys on the team where you could say, well, if they do this season, it could change the team. But also the floor is pretty high for a lot of those guys too. So that much I think the Cubs have improved. You also wrote on Bleacher Nation, Bregman or Cabrera. Who makes the bigger impact this offseason? And that's because both have, while they were great additions to this team, both have some question marks. Like Bregman's not the guy that he was, and Cabrera's been a guy, the fastball's been a little bit of a problem, and he hasn't put it all together yet. So which one, if you had to put all your money down on it, which one makes the bigger impact this season, Bregman or Cabrera?
You know, I wrote that headline. I don't even remember where I landed because I remember being so 50-50 about it when I was writing it. And I was like, God, I could see, like, there's a lot of ways you could say Bregman's going to impact the team in ways that we don't see necessarily. But for me, I think the Cubs front office and entire pitching infrastructure has been locked in on Edward Cabrera for a couple years now. I think they got the guy they wanted the most, and I think they're pretty good about unlocking the potential of guys like this. And so I think it's going to be Cabrera who ends up making the biggest impact because to me, he has true ace upside. And I made this distinction on our site the other day, whereas Justin Steele has number one upside. He can lead any rotation. I think what Cabrera has is ace upside. And I sort of differentiate between who are the true aces in the game, of which I think there are like 6 or 7, like at any one season. Whereas number ones, there's a lot of guys. I can't believe I said 6, 7 and didn't do it. I didn't even mean to do that.
All too old for that.
I have an 11-year-old. Sorry, I can't help you.
Yeah.
Alley-oop right
No,
there.
that's hilarious. But I do think Edward Cabrera has a chance to be like a legitimate ace starting pitcher. And so for me, that's going to be the guy that ends up making the biggest difference. Because I think the rest of the Cubs lineup can do well with Alex Bregman being like a 130 WRC plus guy or like a 110 with great defense and all the other things he does. Whereas Edward Cabrera, I think, can be truly like carrying this pitching staff, especially in October, if he stays healthy and, unlocks whatever the Cubs are trying to change or not change about him this year.
All right, we got to take a quick break. When we come back, I want to ask Michael about this great children's book he has coming out next month. So it's barely like a month away. You can pre-order it now. I want to get a bold prediction out of him. And I want to ask him a little bit about maybe Ben Brown if we have time. So
the wild card.
Yeah, that's all coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast. Joey, what if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi? And what if you could keep it at the same price for not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 years? That is the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Imagine Wi-Fi that makes everything in your home work together. It finds and fixes your problems before you even notice them. And it's like super intelligent Wi-Fi, like a 6th Sense type deal. And it lets you stream the game while the rest of the family is out there watching something else online. All your devices working in perfect harmony out there. And it's for 5 whole years. Here's the best part. No hidden fees, no add-ons, and Xfinity's best equipment is included. Take it from me, a lot can change in 5 years. Lock in your price, unlock the possibilities right now with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only, restrictions apply. And again, this isn't just Wi-Fi. This is 6th Sense Wi-Fi. It's fixing your problems before you know it. It's like having a robot in your home.
The future is here. Luke, winter, it's done a pretty good number on us this year, I would say. March is here, right? And you're thinking winter is over. Well, no, I think winter's got one more thing to say about it. And you got to ask yourself the question, is your home's heating up for the challenge? And if you have a plumbing emergency, what do? You call Four Seasons. If you have an electrical emergency, you call Four Seasons. Or if you need a new hot water tank installed today, you call Four Seasons. Because right now, anytime is the right time to schedule your Four Seasons furnace tune-up. And if you're looking for a whole home generator, they got you covered, because at Four Seasons, they guarantee same-day installation for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, sewer, and generator needs with no extra cost for nights, weekends, or holidays. And right now, you can save up to $4,000 on furnaces and comfort systems. Furnaces at $39 a month. Furnace AC combos at $57 a month. So call and save $50 today. It's Four Seasons Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, Sewer, and Electric that's been serving the Chicagoland community for over 50 years. So go to fourseasonsheatingcooling.com today for all their money-saving offers and coupons today.
Back on the CHGO Cubs podcast with Michael Cerami from Bleacher Nation. We've been peppering him with questions about the Cubs for their offseason, but he also has something special coming. I mentioned we work together at NBC, then he's at Bleacher Nation, then he's breaking stories in the offseason, and in the meantime, he's now an author of a children's book.
Oh, that's awesome.
Where did you come up with the idea for My First Trip to the Bleachers, which comes out, I believe you said April 7th. Where did this idea come from, Michael?
So, some of you guys, some of your listeners might be Blackhawks fans. We have a Blackhawks writer at our site, Tab Bamford, who had written the Connor Bedard book recently and some other books. And I had always sort of kicked around the idea of doing a children's book. Then once I had a son of my own, he's now 3.5 years old. The wheels really started turning because we're reading 1,000 books a month, right? And I'm like, man, I could do this. Like, come on, I got to come up with something. So I asked Tab to put me in contact with some of his other publishers, pitched a couple ideas. We sort of landed on this one. And my wife, funny enough, was a 2nd grade teacher and then a behavioral specialist. And so she sort of introduced the idea of like the feelings and senses and emotions and things that you deal with when you are doing anything new, right? And so we were taking my son to Wrigley or 2 Julys ago, for the like family day event. And it sort of got my wheels turning about that sort of book. And so I came up with this idea where it's a story about a little boy who gets surprised with tickets to go to see his first Cubs game ever. And the actual story itself, although it contains the events of the game, is really more about the things he experiences along the way. It's like from being bored in the car in traffic, on the way there to having to go and use the troughs in the bathroom and those being disgusting. Like every one of us was at one point a little kid, and you walk up into those Wrigley bathrooms and you're like, it's like intimidating, right? And you're like, oh my God. or, the other team hits a home run and someone throws the ball back and you're confused about why that happened. And that's sort of the point of this book is before you go take your, kids to their first Cubs game or their 10th Cubs game, you could read this to them and they'll get the confidence and expectations settled ahead of time. It's an old Mr. Rogers principle where you talk about what you're going to do before you do it. Right. And that's sort of where this book is headed and what the idea is. And it's, it's a little funny. There's some little Easter eggs for like the dads and moms that are going to be reading this book. Anyone who's been to Wrigley is going to recognize these things right away. And that was really the idea. And so, yes, it's available to pre-order now, but it's coming out on April 7th. So a little over a month. And I'm just really excited about it. It's really cool. The illustrator we got, Nora Reuter, is she used to work at Murphy's. She's a muralist. So she does a lot of those like murals inside the cool restaurants in the city or on the outside of those walls. Like she's an awesome artist. Also a local Chicago person. So it's really like, it just was a fun thing to put together, a cool little side project. And, that the little boy's like modeled after my son, Leo. And now I have a daughter though, of course. So I have to come up with a second book, lest I be reminded of that for the rest of my life. So yeah, that's the idea. And I hope anyone who has kids or nephews or nieces or birthday presents to give or Christmas presents considers getting it. Because I think it's fun, but I also think it's, could be pretty useful for the parents out there. So my first trip to the Bleachers.
Awesome. I cannot wait to order it because I have an 11-year-old, but I also have a 2-year-old. So perfect for my 2-year-old, and the whole nine. I got to say though, you have a daughter. Here's a little idea, free idea. Okay. The sequels are writing themselves. My first time to the UC, my first time to, all that stuff. Like there's your sequels, man. Boom, 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 boom.
My first trip to Taylor Swift.
I would be lying if the publisher has brought that up. Yeah, the publisher was like, "What about Soldier Field?" I was like, "All right, let's get this one out first, and we'll see what's next."
I already know it's going to be a great book because everything he touches turns to gold. And number two, you mentioned the troughs, and as I know with my kids, anything that involves a page with a potty incident is a winner.
Oh, they're all in.
That's it. That's a winner. Any kind of potty page is always the best page on the book.
Michael, dad to dad, when was the first time you brought Leo to Wrigley Field? How old was he?
So it was not last July, the July before. So I guess he must have been around 2 years old. I mean, he was pretty young. It was. There's a picture of us in the book. Actually, we did the tour and stuff, and we got to sit in the media room, and I put that picture in there of the both of us. He ran the bases, did all that, but I'm definitely excited to get him back there this year. He feels like he watched the whole Bears season with me this winter, cool. And sort of knows what's going on. A couple of times he cheered when the other team got in the end zone. We didn't quite clarify that we want the Bears to get in the end zone. Right. He just knew that someone scored, but. I will say that I'm excited to bring him this year, and this was not me pushing it on him, but it's a good reminder. The players that he has gravitated towards so far is PCA. I don't know if they just mention his name a lot, or it's easy to say, or when he had his blue hair that stuck with him, whatever it was. And then Kevin Alcantara, because they kept calling him the Jaguar, and he had like bright red shoes. And it was like a good reminder for me. It was like, man, baseball, this was a blind spot to me. The things that kids might latch onto or connect with. And you're talking about two guys with huge personalities, fan favorites in their own sort of way, but they might attract a different audience. And it was just a good reminder that for all the love we give to the, Nico Horner, Dansby Swanson, Ian Haps, like Kyle Hendricks of the world, the kids that we're trying to make fall in love with baseball at their age are going to fall in love with different things than we're going to fall in love with. And so I'm just excited to see who he gravitates towards this year and if it's anything different as he gets older.
You're leading me really quick into a question I wanted to ask you because, one, I'm excited for the adult Easter eggs of my first day at the Bleachers. This is the drunk tank. We don't go in there, right? The do's and the don'ts.
The beer snakes.
But also, I think this is such a great book for young kids to have just because, and I don't know if you experienced this writing it, did it harken back to when you were a kid going to games? Because I think it's so perfect when you talk about all the senses and the stimulation of Wrigley Field. For me, I don't know what it is, but just the clock as a kid going to my first Cubs game, the clock was such a huge, vivid memory of mine. Like, do you know what your vivid memory of Wrigley Field is? Because there's so many for kids to lash onto, whether it is the red shoes, whether it is the ivy, whatever that might be.
Yeah, I think I definitely blended sort of my experience and my memories of my experiences with the ones that I am created and have created with my son. I definitely remember, and I put this in the book, some of the earliest Cubs games I went to and going and sitting out in the bleachers and the seats being cold and everyone seeming to act like they knew each other in the bleachers because that's just like the magic of the Wrigley bleachers. And I definitely incorporated that into the book where it's sort of like, why is everyone high-fiving? Like, do they all know each other? Or why everyone knows the words to this song and it's, the seventh inning stretch or whatever it's going to be. And so I would say that. I also say that I'm not trying to bring it back to this, but the troughs in the bathroom were definitely a big part of it. When you're a little kid, I mean, we were all little boys at one point, and you go into that bathroom, you got to stand next to people shoulder to shoulder, it's like, this is gross, now it's like part of the fun and I wouldn't have it any other way. But that was definitely had to be a part of the book, for that reason. And I'm trying to think of what else that I included from my memories. I mean, again, the traffic on the way there, being bored, that sucks. And it's a part of the experience. And if you're taking the train, it's a different experience, or a bus or whatever. For me, it was getting on 90 and sitting in the backseat of the car, waiting for the Addison exit to show up. Right. And so I sort of incorporated that into the book because, again, it's not just about, hey, going to see a baseball game is fun. It's like, there's parts of this that are less fun, but it's the overall experience that you're about to get that I'm trying to teach you about beforehand. And then hopefully that makes the entire, the entire Cubs viewing experience better for the parents that bring their kids.
Like Antonio Alfonseca, not, or Rick Aguilera, or
six fingers. Like, why does he have six fingers?
Daddy, why does he have 6 fingers?
Billy Koch, or
when you're older, I don't know.
Kevin Gregg, or Milton Bradley. Yeah.
So PC, I get that being a favorite. My kid loves Shota because he sings in the shower on the commercials throughout the game over and over and over.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
How about a bold prediction for one of those Cubs players that you could go to Leo and say, well, I'm going to tell you what, if this happens for this guy, this is my bold prediction.
You know what my bold prediction is going to be this year? Oh, man, I got a couple fun ones, but I think one I believe in is I think PCA goes 30-30 again. I think people have way overshot on how far the pendulum swung back. I know he struggled in the second half, but he also had an incredible second half of 2024 leading into the great first half of 2025. And it's like, that's completely erased from everyone's memory as though he only had one good month or something. No, he had like a full season spread over 2 seasons of elite performance. And I think that he's the type of hard worker and immensely talented athlete that the Cubs are going to be staring down another 30-30 season from him. And he'll join Sosa with his second one. Right. But setting that aside, I think the one that no one again talks about enough is I think Miguel Amaya is going to have a nice year. I think the swing changes he made July of 2024 again really started to show the second half of that year. And when he was healthy last season, he was really good. And he's a former top prospect who has been, just injured over and over. And that may or may not always be a part of his story. But some of these injuries were not, chronic things. They were fluke injuries, things that happened on the field that aren't predictable, or they aren't necessarily, indicative of things that are going to come. So if he could stay healthy, I think Miguel Amaya is going to maybe take over the starting catcher role, even if it's always going to be balanced with Carson Kelly, a 60-40 his favor thing by the end of the season. I really believe in him.
All right, we got one more question for Michael before we got to let him go. Who wants to fire it? You want me to do it?
Wait, are we inviting him to Arizona?
Yeah. Hey, man, if you want to get out to Arizona, jump on board, right? That's March 5th to the 8th. In case we haven't mentioned, presented by Shady Rays.
Poor decisions.
Poor decisions, not intentions.
Got a
That's
pair
other
of shades
people.
for
That's
you.
another podcast. Hey, Ben Brown, the sinker. Is that what's the most exciting thing that we've had happen so far in the spring? Is that
the sinker development, obviously is such a critical piece for him. I think it can be understated how much one more effective pitch can completely transform Ben Brown. He doesn't need his other pitches to improve. He needs to keep hitters from sitting on the 1 or 2 that he is only able to throw at this point. Didn't quite work with the changeup last year, obviously. And so he's trying this new sinker this year that has a lot of different movement than his 4-seamer. So if that can be unlocked, boy, that could be a difference maker, right? But I think, like, have you guys seen Gavin Hollowell pitch this spring? He's looked pretty good, and I'm kind of like, I kick myself over and over because last spring Brett kept saying, like, have you been watching Brad Keller? Like, Brad Keller looks awesome. Brad Keller looks awesome. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Brought him in on like a minor league deal, battling for bullpen spot. Like, we'll see. Obviously wound up being one of the most important pitchers on the team last year out of the bullpen. Hollowell has looked pretty good, and I'm trying not to get ahead of myself. It has nothing to do with results, just the crispness of his offerings, the velocity. It's just like, boy, if he's figuring out his command a little bit, you're talking about a very real weapon to add to this bullpen, which is already a pretty nice mix. But yeah, Ben Brown, I think that's probably more likely to be an impactful thing. And regardless of if he is, starts the year out in Iowa or is a reliever by the end of the season, we're going to see him in Chicago. We're going to see a lot of him. He's an optionable young arm with a lively fastball. Like, he's going to be around. So if that third pitch develops, who knows what you've unlocked and who you can have for not just this year, but the years to come. So that's probably the biggest development this spring, without a doubt.
All right, Michael, thank you. The book, again, available now, pre-order on Amazon. It is My First Trip to the Bleachers. You can also read Michael's work, of course, Bleacher Nation, great follow. He and Brett do a spectacular job there, and part of the Cubs Nation. So, hey, man, we appreciate your time. Let's do this again in like a month when the book comes out, because I want to go page by page through this, and I want to be the one to read. Can I do the audio for it?
An audio book. Luke does
we
the
could
audio
do
book.
The audio.
Now we're talking.
Yeah. Let's do it.
All right, Michael, thanks for your time. Appreciate it, and have a good rest of the week.
Thanks, guys. Good to talk to you.
And we'll talk more about Cubs baseball, including Ben Brown and some of the other things, and our big takeaway coming up next on the CHGO Cubs podcast.
Hey, Cubs fans and Justin.
Yeah.
Guess what I did this morning? I got up, had a nice little exercise, walked the doggy, and then I said, oh, man, I'm late for work. What do? I grabbed myself a big pile of Huel. That's right. Huel, it's $5 in a meal. And whether you're trying to cram in a workout during that chaotic day or that chaotic week, you're trying to get everything done, but also trying to stay in shape, Huel is the perfect meal on the go, and it's absolutely delicious. I had my strawberry vanilla this morning, which is really good. And this one, the chocolate peanut butter flavor, is absolutely fantastic. It's got 35 grams of protein, 27 essential vitamins and minerals, no artificial sweeteners, colors, or flavors, gluten-free, and under $5 per meal, the complete meal that you can literally grab on the go. I also love my daily greens right here with some adaptogens, electrolytes, antioxidants, all right there for you. So what are you waiting for? Limited time offer. Get Huel today with the exclusive offer of Cubs 15, CUBS 15 for 15% off your order. Check it out today. Huel up, fuel up. Have a great summer.
All right, spring into flavor at Hooters. Hurry into Hooters for the deal of the season. Your choice of 10 boneless wings or 10 buffalo shrimp served with curly fries and lots more for just $9.99. If you're in the mood for seafood, check out the Big Fish Sandwich, perfectly seasoned tender cod, grilled, blackened, or hand-battered and fried. And here's the hidden gem of Hooters. 1 pound of succulent snow crab legs served with warm drawn butter and fresh lemon. Yes, I've had them before. They are good. Keep things cool with a $6 legendary margarita, or enjoy specials on Dos Equis and Coors Light 22-ounce Big Daddy mugs. Yeah, drink of the month. Quench your thirst with the drink of the month. Catch the madness all month with Mango Mojito for just $8. A delicious blend of Bacardi rum, mango puree, lime juice, and mint. Cheer on your favorite teams at any of the 11 Chicagoland Hooters locations. I was born and raised in Bloomingdale. My favorite is the Schaumburg location.
Yes.
I used to be a member over there. Check out all of them at originalhooters.com.
Back on the CHGO Cubs podcast, Michael Cerami, great from Bleacher Nation. Now we're going to do our big takeaway presented by Xfinity. Imagine that. What's our big takeaway from over the weekend? Well, there were plenty of opportunities, but the big takeaway, Mr. Justin Steele, cleared by doctors to go back to start ramping up for a regular season with the Chicago Cubs. this is happening fast.
Yes, it is.
Real fast. And he's cleared. That doesn't mean he's going to break camp and start the season at Wrigley Field.
He's not. Right.
It's going to be May or June, still on target for what he said, May or June, but he feels great. There's nothing he can't throw. He can start as if this is the beginning of his spring training and start getting ready. What is the impact of this, and how excited are you to see what will happen for Justin Steele? For me, I don't expect a ton in the first half of the season. I think they could be very cautious about it.
Yeah.
But this is just a terrific sign, and I'm super happy for him.
Yeah, I think it's a testament to his work ethic and the fact that he didn't sulk. He listen, it sucked for him, sucked for us Cub fans, but he got after it, and he's been doing those videos. His wife's been filming.
Yeah.
He's really all in on the rehab, and so it's a testament to him and his work ethic. So I'm very, very excited. I'm with you. I don't even want to think of Justin Steele in the first half of the season. Jed built a pitching staff that can withstand not having Justin Steele for the first half, right? So, but once he comes back and if he shows that he's a Justin Steele of old, man, that's an embarrassment of riches at that point, because we just talked about Ben Brown as well. It's a great place to be if you're a Cubs fan, because we have pitching depth, but man, adding a dog like Justin Steele, let's say halfway through the season, sky's the limit.
Yeah, first impressions, congratulations to Justin Steele. This is the hurdle that you wanted to clear. When the doctor gives you the thumbs up and the green light, that's music to his ears, and I think also to Cubs fans as well. I'm curious about what the next steps are, right? He had kind of intimated that bullpen sessions were going to increase to 35 to 40 pitches. He was going to start spinning the ball a little bit more. For Cubs fans out there, again, I think we're going to continue to just caution that he's cleared to now basically begin spring training now, or maybe even roll it back, pre-spring training, like February throwing now. So when he says May/June, I personally, when all this happened, I said, if we get him back in July, I think that's a bonus. So May, June is ahead of that prediction. And if that happens, I think that's great for him. The question, Luke, is twofold. One is starting to throw that curveball a little bit more. And then the one that I have is that once he gets that pitch count up a little bit more, of course, he's going to begin to throw a few rehab starts. And if you see anything with spring training, these guys typically need sometimes not just 3, but sometimes 4, 5, maybe even 6 starts at the rehab level to come back. My question is Justin Steele going to take all of those at the AAA level, or could you utilize some Justin Steele at the major league level in a very much a protracted pitch count? Like, is Justin Steele coming back to the major leagues and throwing 80 pitches in his first start, or are we bringing Justin Steele back to maybe throw 40 or 50, which leads a little bit into what you've liked to talk about all winter long with the 6-man rotation or a piggyback situation?
I would not want to bring him back, and I don't think they're thinking this, but I would not want to bring him back in clean inning, give us 2 innings in the bullpen. I would like him to see him be, quote unquote, an opener, but like a 3-inning opener. That's what I would like to see. Give him the pitch count. When they finally decide to put him into games, say, okay, you're going to do 3 to 4 innings, or this amount of pitches. Hopefully that gets us to 3 or 4 innings. And then Ben Brown is going to finish it on the other side. You're 2 totally different pitchers. Yeah. It's a nice matchup. And that's how we're going to go. You look at, and Michael talked about this, about the, you can easily come up with 1 through 9 now in the rotation. And that's when Steele comes back, but it's not including Wicks. It's not including Colin Ray, most likely.
Javier Assad, who's throwing 95 all of a sudden with the Sloan Park gun.
The Cubs have these opportunities. Now, let's say he comes back, let's just be conservative and say it's more like end of June, pushing towards 4th of July, and then it's definitely before the trade deadline. If you can see some positive results, it allows you to do some creative things at a trade deadline if everybody's healthy. And if everybody's not healthy, which is the way more likely scenario, just based on the health of some of these guys and the way baseball has started to trend over the last 5, 6, 7 years, it's all going to iron itself out. But I'm fascinated to think, okay, when the season starts, these are the 5 or 6 starters they're going with. And then at the end of the year, these are the 5 or 6 starters that they're going with. And then when you get to the postseason, these are the 4 guys they're going with. Like, how will that all work out because of health? How will that work out because of effectiveness? And Steele even mentioned, this is going to be like, it's not important at the beginning of the season. It is, you want to win the games, you got to win the division, but the most important stuff's at the end. So I wonder if he gave away the Cubs' plan of, really trying to ease some of these guys in early in the season, and that might not even involve him yet.
I just feel like, obviously we all want a healthy Justin Steele, but every season is sacred, and I don't want any like teetering happening during the season. Meaning like I want Steele, rehab starts, letting loose. I don't want to change the flow of our rotation. And I want him to come up and be ready to win ball games, and all the injury rehab stuff and all like the building up. I want that down on the farm. Okay. I feel like we have enough depth to not need to do that. You need a healthy Justin Steele for October, because if all things go exactly to plan, having a healthy and ace like Cade Horton, having a healthy and ace like Edward Cabrera, and having a dog and a former ace of this staff, Justin Steele, going in October, that's the goal. That's what you want. I don't really care about June, July until he's ready. And I would actually err on the side of like caution versus like speeding him up.
So that's what I think is really fascinating, because these are all human beings and they're all heavy competitors, right? So, what do you say? You start every 5th day, okay? So just do the math. 4 starts is about 20 days. If Justin Steele goes to AAA and he has 4 starts, and let's just say the final 2 are like immaculate, after the 20th day, but he's only throwing maybe 50, 55 pitches. After the 20th day, the Cubs will have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Because he's not necessarily ready to go deep into a game and give you 70 or 80, but it's Justin Steele. He's chomping at the bit. No offense to AAA, but living in Chicago and with the big league club, it's just better.
Yeah.
So if he's rocking and rolling after that 4th start, right? And that's the part, right? You want to be cautious where you're like, no, Justin, we need you to do 2 more starts, and we need you to get to pitch 60, pitch 70 before we bring you back. Yeah. That's the part that I'm just kind of like, I'm just really curious to see how they play it. And Luke, I think to your point, we're talking about it now, but baseball has a weird way of figuring itself out with this stuff. But I don't know, if he's twirling, but it's only 50, 55 pitches, and he's like, I'm ready. What do the Cubs do? And then again, how do they implement him back into this team?
What's the best case scenario for 4 starters as you get down to the end of the season? Not the very end of the season, but as you're heading towards the playoffs and you're looking and saying, man, if these 4 guys are all gunning at the same time, what's the best case scenario? I think Matthew Boyd will be the opening day starter.
Okay.
I think that's who they're going to give it to. He was an all-star last year. He was a veteran last year. He showed up for him at the end of the season. I don't think they're going to be like Tyone do it. I don't think they're doing Shota on opening day.
Cade Horton, no?
And I don't think it's going to be Cade Horton because he's a young player. Yeah. And that's usually a tip of the cap to a veteran guy where you say, thank you for what you're doing and for what you've done. I'd actually wouldn't be surprised if it was Tyone instead of Horton, in pecking order. I think it's going to be Boyd. That's just my guess. But at the end of the season, the 4 guys I want to see are Boyd, Steele, Horton, and then I sit there and go, where's the next best option? Like who?
Cabrera,
right?
1,000%. I mean, he's your big ticket acquisition. It's got to be Cabrera. Otherwise,
is there anybody you would substitute out though? Because I do have dreams of this sinker fixes Ben Brown, and now I've got fire there. And where's he going to be best used? I do have a dream of. Yeah, the league did kind of figure out Shota, but now he's going to come back, and maybe the spring training homers mean nothing. And what if he did come back? I still think it's Cabrera, Horton, Boyd, and Steele are the 4 that I would want to see in a perfect world pitching in the postseason.
Yeah.
And then a buddy of mine said to me, well, yeah, but what if Jackson Wiggins is the real deal?
That's another
Would
thing.
you rather see him emerge at the end of the season like Horton did and then say, he is ready. I still think it's those 4. If I had to pick right now, those would be my 4 I want to see
It's a great conversation. It's a fun conversation to have versus back in the day when we're like, oh, who's this guy throwing? And
Tyone's a hard guy to ignore too.
1,000%.
The way he pitched in the postseason last year.
A good team should ignore a Tyone. You know what I'm saying? Because they have so many better options. Like Tyone is awesome, but if Tyone is your ace, you got problems. And I love Jameson Tyone, but I'm saying like a good team should be able to be like, yeah, Tyone, you're the 5th guy. You know, like a good team, a good rotation should have better options. And the Cubs, if all goes well, they do. And
none of this should be a surprise to any of the players because we had these conversations last year where as you are entering July, you were like, no, Shota's still on the rotation. Shota's earned the spot. But Shota pitched his way out of that contention and honestly a lot of the Cubs fans' confidence. So the way that the roster is built this year specifically is that these guys are going to have to produce and perform, right? They're going to have to compete a little bit against each other to see who gets the ball. Luke, I like your idea of Matthew Boyd pitching opening day for 2 reasons. The first one is if he goes off and pitches in the WBC, you can, because they have the day off on that Friday, you can sort of reset Matthew Boyd and give you that extra day.
However you want.
And then in theory, right, that Saturday, starting that Saturday, Justin, you're rolling out Cade Horton and Edward Cabrera or whatever it is.
Right.
And then that's the true order of your rotation moving forward.
Right.
You get Boyd that extra day. He pitches on opening day because he deserves it. He's a veteran. He can handle it. Day off on Friday. Come back on Saturday. It's Cade Horton on the mound. And Sunday, it's Edward Cabrera. Your rotation's lined up and then rock and roll.
Man, the depth of the rotation is really good. And you want a bold prediction from me?
Yeah, let's go.
They're gonna need 10 starters. They're gonna need at least 10 of those starters,
because
right?
Of injury?
That's just the way it goes. Yeah. Somebody's not gonna pitch well. Somebody's gonna have a little tendonitis in the elbow. Somebody's gonna have a sore shoulder for a month. Like that just goes that way. I bet you we see people that'll start games this year, not an opener, right?
Okay.
Steele will start a game. Boyd will start a game. Shota will start a game. Cabrera's going to start a game. Horton's going to start a game. Ben Brown's going to start a game.
I feel good. Colin Ray will start a game.
Colin Ray's going to start a game.
Assad?
I think Assad will start a game before it's all said and done.
Yeah. And the other part about it,
Jackson
too.
Wiggins. I mean, you start going down the list.
The other part about that, too, is I'm not going to sit here and say, like, let's say pick
Tyone,
pick any of these pitchers, and let's say that they falter, they struggle out of the gate. Chef Kevin Penner, yes, Chef. Tyone has given up 6 runs in an inning and 2/3. We can have the conversation about how you like to take your spring training.
I don't think he cares about it. He's one of those veteran guys that's just working on, like, today, I want to see if I can control the fastball. Right. And they don't care about the results.
But the question is, when we get into the regular season, if one of these guys falters, I think when we talk about the leash, when Craig Counsell, I don't think it's going to be like, if you're bad for 2 starts, you're out of the rotation. I don't think that's how it's going to go. I think he's going to run his veterans pretty hard. But if a guy is struggling or if Shota continues to have the home run bug, I could see the leash getting a little bit shorter in game where you're just not – maybe there's some days where, like, if Shota doesn't have it after 2 innings and a third, his day is just done in late May. And because they can bring someone else in. When we talk about the embarrassment of riches or the inventory or the depth or whatever it is, it allows Craig the flexibility to say, look, man, I just don't think you have it today. You're not losing your spot in the rotation. But if you don't have it today, in comes Ben Brown. In comes Javier Assad. Let's get in a different look. Let's try and salvage this game. And that might be a luxury that Craig Counsell will be able to afford this year.
And Corey Seacrest is a very good point. Having depth will definitely help in a World Baseball Classic year. Who knows how that'll impact everything and some health. I mean, you got some guys that are throwing, some guys that are playing. So obviously, I mean, it's good to have depth, and that is one thing about the Cubs, and not just in our rotation. On this team, we have depth. We have infield depth. You know, we got a bunch of guys trying to.
Ben Cowles is back.
Your guy.
11 days.
Your guy.
Cowles, I don't even know, but he's
the Cubs don't even know.
No,
they have no idea.
Man, what did we do without him for 11 days?
You know, but like
he was gone.
From a human standpoint, like how does that? You're at home. Like, what are you doing? Are you at home? Are you flying back and forth? What does your wife say?
He flew, and then he was back.
Just stay in the plane, hover over the city, and just wait for the landing.
I mean, he's getting paid. He's a ball player, but man, where is he going to end up? Nobody knows. Spin the bottle, right?
Yeah. Okay, so let's go to what we're talking about, the depth. Let's go back to what we were talking about with Michael.
The headline.
More impact, yes. Cabrera or Bregman. I don't have a hard take on this one. This is one where I would love to come up with like 5 categories before the season starts, or 5 players each. I wouldn't mind picking them on a scale, but I also think you could just divide into categories and be like, all right, you get Bregman, I get Cabrera. And at the end of the season, say, all right, who has more stars on their list? Even if we didn't pick them, because this one is, I think Bregman is the more likely guy. He's the more certain of the 2 players because his career has been more proven, track record. But he also had injuries last year, and Cabrera has probably higher upside because of the age. Because of the track record, I'm going to say Bregman.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know how high I am on Edward Cabrera. I think Edward Cabrera could possibly be like 1A, 1B with Cade Horton for us for years to come, not just this year, for years to come. I'm that high on Cabrera. I think 2026 Chicago Cubs, the bigger impact, I think it's going to be Alex Bregman. I think that we've talked about him being an actual better fit than Kyle Tucker on this team. I think that you saw with a healthy bat like Kyle Tucker in last year's lineup for the first half, you saw everybody else rise. You saw production out of PCA, Suzuki, everybody. The offense was the best offense in baseball with a solid Kyle Tucker. Well, Alex Bregman could be that solid veteran bat, and everybody's better because of it. It lengthens your lineup. If Dansby Swanson's batting, 7, 8, 9, you're in good shape, So I really do think Alex Bregman, plus when I talk about the fit, he wants to be here. He's embracing Chicago. He loves Cub fans. It's like everything about it is like good juju, and I think that Alex Bregman will have the bigger impact on this team than Cabrera. And I love Cabrera, by the way. So
yeah, it's a clean sweep. I'm with you on Bregman just in terms of a bankable bigger impact, because I know the stuff is there with Edward Cabrera, and the potential is really tantalizing. But what is the ceiling for him? It is hard for me to project because, as you said, he's never really reached any sort of. I mean, last year he had 26 starts. He looked good in the second half, but we don't really know. Is he a 20-game winner, right? Is he a Cy Young candidate? I think he can be an all-star, right? And his stuff definitely speaks for itself. We can all see that with our own eyes, especially over the weekend. And we were like, yep, that checks out. That looks pretty good. But I'm a little bit like smaller goals with Edward Cabrera this year. Stay healthy. Control the zone. Maybe don't let everybody
pitch
steal
200 innings, win 25 games.
So I got 300.
Be a little Bob, be a little Gibson. You know what I mean? Put them together. I'm with Michael Cerami. I'm with you guys that I think Alex Bregman has at least one really ultra elite season left in him. I don't think he's going to hit 41 bombs like he did in 2019, but he threw the word 300 out there. I could see Alex Bregman hitting pretty close to 300. And you mentioned it too about how the success that he had in Boston before the quad injury last year. I think he was hitting close to 290. It was like 290 something when that happened.
He was really good.
For a full season, the good vibes, and of course, all those intangibles of the leadership, the day in and day out. He's really solid at third base. He's a guy, if he does hit number 2 in the lineup, that's going to be pretty damn important in terms of impact. So Bregman seems like the easy call on this one. I just think people are really excited to see, frankly, the unknown of Edward Cabrera out there. I just want to see him out there, right? Like him throwing 96-mile-an-hour changeups over the weekend was cool. More of that, please, and I'll just be happy with that for now.
If he is the bona fide ace that Michael was talking about, then that would push him over. Generally, I would say, listen, as Corey mentioned in the chat, the everyday player, 6 days a week, 7 days a week, is generally going to have more impact than a guy who might throw every 6 days, unless that guy is one of the 7 elite starters in all of baseball. Now, that's what it would take for Cabrera to push ahead. But the flip side can be true of Bregman. We talk about everyday players. If he's playing 6, 7 days a week and it's just meh, well, then the impact isn't the same. So I guess it depends on how they're specifically playing. But I would stick with the everyday player in Bregman and the proven track record in Bregman. But as far as most exciting player going into the season, like guy that could, we'll do an X Factor podcast, I'm sure.
Right.
Cabrera's on that list. PCA is on that list. Matt Shaw could be on that list.
Cade Horton.
Mo Baller, Cade Horton. Could Jackson Wiggins late in the season be on that list? Could Steele be on that list.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I give you 10 guys that could be on that list, to be honest with you.
And the cool part about pitchers, really fast, Justin, is just like, and I've done this as a kid, like you pull up the Chicago Tribune and you look at all the pitching matchups for the day, and it isn't so much as like, hey, do you want to watch the Cubs game tonight? It's like, hey, Cubs are on tonight because Horton is on the mound. Right. And Cabrera can be like that guy.
Totally.
Of like, it isn't just a normal Tuesday night Cubs game. It's a Cubs game, Cabrera's on the mound. Yep. That's kind of the potential that we want for him, and that's what can also make him interesting and entertaining.
We got that last year when Horton pitched.
Yeah, totally.
It was like
Horton on the mound.
People that weren't watching were
what
like,
are you doing?
I should watch tonight.
Well, Luke, when you were breaking down like the excitement level or whatever, like you really were kind of splitting up veterans and young guys. Yeah. And it's such a great place to be right now as a Cubs fan because we have the veterans, Bregman, Swanson, Nico, Ian Happ, Suzuki, and then you got these young studs, the PCAs. I put Michael Busch in there, Cade Horton, Miguel Cabrera, Palencia. Like we kind of have created like the perfect balance of veterans versus young guys. So there's still a lot of like, we don't know their ceilings yet of like the certain young guns that we have where like the veterans give you kind of a floor. So I don't know, man, I'm really excited about this season. I think it's almost like a perfect balance of the veterans and the young guys.
We're running out of time, but a fun one also is who needs to have a bigger impact? The veterans being the veterans or the young guys taking the step forward?
The OGs.
The OGs versus the new Gs?
Or the young punks.
The young pumps. Yeah. The Zoomers, apparently we got in the comments too as well.
I hope to see all of them out in Arizona because we'll be there starting Thursday. Will. You guys will be at the Cubs game at Sloan Park on Thursday. I get there a little bit later.
Listen, this is crazy. Joey and I, you get to sleep in a little bit, you know, hang out with the kids.
I'll have the kids up.
Exactly. You got it.
I'll be up. Believe me, I'll be up.
Joey and I are up at like, 4:30, 5 in the morning. We're taking a 7 a.m. flight to Phoenix. And we're going to the Cubs game that day. And then we're meeting up with Luke. And then we're going to the Bulls game that night.
After my nap.
After your nap. And then, then there's a golf outing the next day. Then there's 2 more Cubs games. And we're going to be like, we are like, what is it? Sports over everything? I mean, it is literally sports over everything this weekend. Cannot wait.
So here's the deal. It's presented by Shady Rays. Again, some of this stuff is sold out, but it's all a la carte. So you can go to whatever you want as long as there's tickets available. I believe the Bulls game is now sold out. The Bulls-Suns game event is sold out, but I believe you can still get tickets to Thursday's Cubs game,
Saturday's Cubs game, Sunday's
Cubs game, Sunday's Cubs game, Friday's White Sox game. The golf outing, I believe, is still available to come golf with us during the afternoon. And the big one is we have a happy hour on Friday night.
Where's it at?
Poor decisions.
Poor ramifications.
Now, before you Google it, it's P-O-U-R.
Yes, it's a
poor
decisions. It's a great spot. A lot of Chicago people are going to be there. We're going to be there. We cannot wait to that. Like that's just listen. We're going to hang out with you guys.
7 to 10.
7 to 10. We're going to hang out with y'all at the games. It's going to be great. But like poor decisions, that Friday meetup, that meeting, it's like that's where we're going to get to really like let loose.
Yes.
You know, eat some food, drink some drinks, mingle. That's going to be a lot of fun. And again, Phoenix is like Arizona is like it's like Chicago light, right? So a lot of Chicagoans are going to be there. That's going to be a real fun night.
Yeah, it'll be like a taste of Chicago. So a bunch of Chicago Cubs fans and Chicagoans hanging out, all of us there.
It's a Friday night. I think we have a soft confirmed that Lance Briggs may go to this. Ooh, Lance may come out and throw back. And, we'll sit on stage and we'll talk sports and all that stuff.
And we'll tackle Braggs.
We're going to get there Thursday.
Yeah.
And maybe we could talk some other people into coming on over there. Maybe we'll get a pretty good group.
That'd be great.
Of Chicago sports deals. So come on down.
Let's do it.
It's a drink deal. There's going to be some food, and it's going to be a good time. 7 to 10 at Poor Decisions.
Lock it in. He's locked in.
Oh, man. How many times... There's a Poor Decisions guy. Matt Peck's going to be there.
Matt Peck will be there.
Poor Decisions. He's made many of them in his life.
And it is true. It's spelled P-O-U-R. So
pour.
It's like pour,
pouring
like the beer. Yeah,
the decisions for what you're going to pour.
Yes.
Not have bad intentions.
No, that'd be a dumb name.
That's not it.
No.
That's not it.
But it's going to be fun. Hey, guys, we're a couple of days away from 80-degree weather.
Yeah, Poor Decision would be forgetting your sunscreen.
Listen, normally I don't do sunscreen. Okay, I'm half Mexican. I don't do, but I am gonna bring it down there because it's my first exposure all weekend. I gotta get a base. I gotta get a base.
Look at what the cameras are doing to that. It's like Wonder Woman. It's like Wonder Woman. I can deflect anything with these babies.
Put a filter on that, please, Sarah.
There's just a ring I'm seeing in my sight line now.
I'm ready to try all the food, huh?
Let's do it.
All right, so check that out on our website and make sure you pick out your a la carte. Thanks for checking out the CHGO Cubs podcast. We're back tomorrow at 2 o'clock. We'll be here Wednesday as well, and then we'll see you in the desert on Thursday. Until then, thanks for watching and fly the W.
We all silly like the mayor.